Today on Locked On Red Wings, Detroit completes the comeback to snap their 3-game losing streak in overtime.
You're Locked On Red Wings, your daily podcast on the Detroit Red Wings. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Red Wings podcast. We are your hosts, Brian Fisher and Scotty Bentley. I'm a podcast producer for the Daily J, a WWJ News Radio podcast. Well, Scotty's a host over at Locked On Tigers, as well as a freelance journalist for the Detroit News. And on today's episode, guys, we're going to talk about the Red Wings' 4-3 overtime win over the New York Islanders to snap their 3-game losing skid. We love to see that. They wasn't a great game. But they got hot and they were able to carry that to a victory. We'll talk all about that. There are a couple of key players who did have fantastic games. I'm sure Scotty's really excited to talk about one of those guys, and I'm really excited to talk about another one of those guys. We are also going to announce the winner of our Jake Walman stick giveaway at the end of today's episode. So make sure you stay tuned and listen to the full thing, and absolutely do not, under any circumstances, scrub to the end of this video.
Do not skip to the end just
see
if you won. All right.
Don't do it.
Or how about this? No. How about this? Let's take 5 seconds. You're allowed to skip, go to the end, but you have to come back. Okay. Yes. Ready? 5 seconds. Ready? Go.
No takebacks. We shook on it.
Okay. Let's do a show.
All right. Did they hear my part? Did they hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Well, they didn't because they skipped it.
Oh,
but
shoot.
I heard it.
Well, I hope they didn't go back on our deal. Get bad. The Red Wings won 4-3 over the New York Islanders.
What a game. What a roller coaster of emotions that was.
I'm not going to lie to you. And plus, we're all watching the Lions as well. And that was a roller coaster of a game, too. The
Pistons played. It was the sports equinox. The World Series was on. It was an absolute madness for about 4 hours there.
Did the Pistons play? Because it didn't seem like it.
All right, calm down. They look all right this year. 500 ball club.
All right. But yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. Early on in this game, I mean, even you could say all the way through the first and the second period, I was not super inspired by what I saw from this hockey team. It was a better game. I did think they were playing much more competitive hockey. They did have a more aggressive forecheck. At 5-on-5, they were playing a lot closer than they were against the Bruins and the Jets. The game prior, I was blanking on the team between Seattle and the Bruins there for a second. I thought that they were playing more competitive hockey, but it still didn't seem like it was clicking 100%, like it was all there. And I mean, if it were not for Husso, Husso had it. It's crazy that he didn't get a single star in this game with the game that he played. Ville Husso is unreal. He was
great.
925 save percentage in this one. A goal saved above expected of 1.97. And I'm just getting tired of the Ville Husso slander to begin with, because that sequence he made in the first period, and he was great throughout the entire game. And sure, you want to talk about the goal he gave up on the breakaway to Cizikas. Sure, we can talk about that, but not necessarily. I'm not pinpointing that at you, Scotty. Just overall, the haters that I've seen out there in the internet. Overall, he had just a fantastic freaking game, and he was the reason why the Red Wings, I would say, came out on top, because he went head-to-head with a Vezina finalist from last year, one of my favorite goalies to watch in the league, and Ilya Sorokin, because he single-handedly makes this team a playoff team, if you ask me, the New York Islanders, that is. And he beat him. He beat Ilya Sorokin. And Ville Husso had just a fantastic game. So my first star of the game goes to Ville Husso, absolutely. I know I immediately dove into the player I wanted to talk about most. I tried to talk about the first and second period first.
Dude cannot bury a lead. My goodness. No, he was great though, man. He was really good. And I mean, you mentioned it, but there was a solid 5-minute stretch in the first period where he just completely put the team on his back. And yeah, he was great. This game was wild, dude. Like, it really was. it was really, really, really wild. And I don't think the goal total the first two periods was probably somewhat what we expected, but the style wasn't. Like both teams were getting shots, and to your point, like Husso went toe to toe with one of the better goalies in the NHL, and in a game in which both teams were pretty close in shots and in high danger shots through the first couple of periods. It was good, man.
Yeah.
Obviously was good. The first two periods offensively, we'll talk about, were not great.
Yeah, and Ville Husso made 9 of 9 high danger shot attempt saves at 5-on-5. So he made all the shots that he was supposed to have made at 5-on-5. Obviously, the one high danger shot attempt he did allow in was the shorthanded breakaway goal to Cizikas. And I saw some people on Twitter saying that that was another patented Ville Husso softie, and they equaled that. That's not the right word, but they tried to compare that to the McAvoy goal against the Bruins, where McAvoy cut in against Ville Husso, point blank range, and made a move, and it just squeaked through. And you could argue that, yeah, those are definitely, and I'm not going to disagree, like those are definitely attempts that he should have, but they're also breakaway attempts. Or the McAvoy wasn't a breakaway, but it was a one-on-one with the goalie where there was no defensive help. On this one, Mort Seider was gassed, couldn't keep up with Cizikas, who flew down the ice. If that is the softie on a one-on-one with a player that he's going to allow every game, then I'm perfectly acceptable with that. Because every other save he made, every other sequence of multiple shots that he saved was fantastic. And again, like I said, it showed in the advanced stats as well. Goal saved above expected was nearly 2 in this game for Ville Husso. I'm going to sing his praises all day long. To me, he's the number 1 star. And he really covered up for the Red Wings' mistakes in this game. Because while it was a much closer game at 5-on-5, we talk about our 3 keys of the game before we went into this game, right, Scotty? We recorded yesterday, and one of our keys, it's a reoccurring theme with this hockey team, is play better 5-on-5. They did play better 5-on-5 hockey, but they still didn't play good 5-on-5 hockey until probably the third period.
Yeah, agreed. It was close. There was a little bit of a line change up as well. I'm sure you want to talk about that. I mean, the second line in this game was not Kopp, Compher, and Rasmussen. It was Kopp, Compher, and David Perron. And aside from the really poorly timed tripping penalty by Perron at the very end of the game that you could say was the reason that the game went into overtime. So obviously really big mistake there, not trying to just like brush past it. Very, very big mistake. But outside of that play at the end of the game, the second line was much more, I thought that they just had more opportunities than they have previously. Not that Perron single-handedly, maybe like by himself, just made this a more effective line, but the person that I want to get into was JT Compher. I thought had an I was watching with my roommate, obviously, and we kept calling it the JT Compher game, which like is obviously super dramatic. Like he didn't have like a 4-goal game or anything, but it started before the like goal and obviously the great pass in overtime. Like he was playing great before that. Like he started off the game 5 for 5 in the faceoff circle. He won I think it was like 2/3 or maybe even like 3/4 of his faceoffs throughout this game. Like he was the number 1 like go-to option in the faceoff circle tonight. Clearly they had a scouting report on that. Like he was everywhere. He was playing really sound defense as well. And then obviously the goal as well as the phenomenal pass to Razor to win the game. Just all around, man, I thought JT Compher was excellent in this hockey game. And I think that he's probably, like, if you were to rank them, probably the biggest reason why the Red Wings were able to come back and win this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I want to give my thoughts on JT Compher and the second line as a whole. But I feel like before I get into that, we should probably take a quick break just because timing wise, it's either now or at 15 minutes in. So we'll take a quick break. And when we come back, I will talk about the second line and we'll continue this conversation breaking down the 4-3 overtime win over the New York Islanders. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about FanDuel. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. How about those Lions? 6-2 heading into the bye. It was an ugly win.
Well,
but
the turnovers were ugly.
Yeah.
We had like 500 yards. It's just we had really bad turnovers.
Turnovers and just not being able to convert in the red zone a whole lot.
Field goals,
big issues. But I mean, 6-2 going into the bye week, 13 days to heal up some of your players that you're sorely missing, because that's a big impact as well. So right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action and bet the Red Wings. Well, you can bet the Red Wings Stanley Cup odds or the Lions Super Bowl odds. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Segment 2, Locked On Red Wings podcast. All right, Scotty, you brought up some good points around the second line, and we talked about it in yesterday's episode, right? That there had been a lot of conversation about how the second line of Rasmussen, Compher, and Comp was the Red Wings' shutdown line. And while that may have been true that they were a defensively sound line, especially with Comp, I mean, just what all three of them brings, it screams like defensively sound, right? Like on paper, at the very least. Metrically, they weren't doing so much. Offensively, they were doing even less. And so we were like, listen, this team's on a skid. This second line is not producing any offense. I think in the last 5 games and before this one, Kopp and Compher combined for a grand total of 0 points. Yeah. So we were calling for it. Like, there needs to be some kind of shakeup to the second line. Well, this game comes, David Perron's on the second line. Do I think David Perron had a great game? No, I think that at times the second line looked a little bit out of sync, and he looked a little bit like he's got a step behind. I think age might be catching up with David Perron, but it was also a massive improvement with Perron on that line. Everything that I just said about David Perron is like, especially, I mean, obviously he had that really bad penalty with 3 minutes left in the game, which caused Horvat to be able to tie the game up with and make it 3-3, force overtime. It was Horvat, right? Double check on that. Yeah, Horvat.
Yep. Yeah, okay. I was like, you got one of them. I couldn't remember the order, yeah.
And so outside of that, though, you know, that's just one of those things where he's hopping onto a new line. It might take him some time to adjust, but like immediate impact was definitely felt. So while he didn't have like the best game and they felt a little out of sync, they were also substantially better than what that line previously was, if that makes sense. Like, both were true at the same time. You could see how they were a little out of sync, but they were playing much better. And it translates in like every single advanced stat. If you go to hockey stat cards, it's Walman, Seider, Kopp, Compher, Perron, the top 5 in order. And JT Compher, as you were saying, was the guy for the Red Wings today. He pretty much, if we're going to talk about Ville Husso keeping the Red Wings in this game, JT Compher is probably the guy that took them over the top to win this game, in my opinion. He had a goal and an assist, and obviously we'll talk about Walman and Seider as well as on the blue line, the most impactful players for sure. But I mean, what a great play on, first of all, the Moritz Seider pass, JT Compher backdoor, but JT Compher's just ability to see that everyone's looking towards the left, to sneak behind the net, to go backdoor where nobody's looking at him, to bury that puck. Like you said, he had like a 68% in the faceoff circle. The Red Wings overall struggled in the faceoff dot this game, but JT Compher did not. He dominated the faceoff.
Started off 5-0.
Yeah.
The Islanders did not win a faceoff as a team until there was 11 minutes remaining in the first period.
Yeah.
And JT Compher started off the game in the faceoff circle. They clearly knew that, like, there was a scouting report, something. They very clearly knew that he was the guy to put out there tonight, and it worked.
And then he and Raymond in overtime were just buzzing out there. Yeah, and Raymond was a guy who desperately needed something to go his way. And I thought Raymond had
after the goal. Raymond freaked, dude. It was so cool. It was great.
Well, just prior to that, JT Compher had rang one off the post in overtime.
Yeah. Was that?
And I thought for sure. Yeah. I believe it was Compher, and I thought for sure they were going to come back down the other way and score. Yeah. Well,
who kept it in? Was that Seider?
I think it was Horvat felt pressure from Seider, who then turned it over to Raymond, who went to Compher, back to Raymond, back of the net. It was beautiful. And when Compher went to make that second pass, I was like, no, just shoot it, because that was my big problem all game long. And we can talk about that when we get to negatives. Mm-hmm. But that was just, you got to make a goalie like Sorokin move. And I think that's what they were trying to do all game long, because he's so good. And for a while there, I thought Sorokin was going to steal that game. and they made him move in overtime, and Raymond just buried it. Compher had a fantastic game, and shout out Cop too. I know I've talked about Perron, I know I've talked about Compher, but Cop too just looked. That entire line looked really good. If you sort this team by expected goals for percentage in this one, it's JT Compher at 5-on-5 with a 78% share, a 1.88 expected goals for JT Compher. David Perron, second on the team with 61.85%. Andrew Kopp was 61.29. Again, expected goals 4% is an attempt to weight shot attempts. And then do the shot attempts for versus the shot attempts against to give you a percentage. So 78% share of quality shots for JT Compher when he was on the ice. That's pretty good.
Pretty good.
That second line looked great, and I'm hoping that. And I know Lalonde's the type of coach that's just going to let that continue to
until
roll.
It stops.
Yes.
Hopefully it doesn't ever.
Hopefully it doesn't ever. Never again. But yeah, I mean, from there, Scotty, do you want to? Who else you want to talk about? Obviously, Walman and Seider are on there.
Yeah, we can talk. I mean, Walman obviously with the goal too. Like, I feel like the first couple of games we were kind of like, yeah, like they look, fine, whatever. But very quickly here, like we're not even into November yet, and we already are kind of seeing them hit their stride. I feel like the last few games they've been a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Moritz Seider had 2 primary assists on this one. He had the assist on Jake Walman's goal. That one was a crazy goal, that Jake Walman goal.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe we should. I feel like because of how that sequence of 3 consecutive goals played out, maybe we should roll together talking about those consecutive goals and the Walman Seider conversation as into one, because they don't happen without the other, so to speak. You know what I mean? So first, the Red Wings are getting kind of outplayed just slightly, pretty much the entire game. The Islanders do have the slight edge, even at the end of the game, in shot attempts in this game and overall shots. They got outshot, I think, 30 or 40 to 36. Yeah, 40 to 36 in this game. And after the Islanders went up with 19 minutes left in the third period, like first minute of the game, they scored a second goal. I thought for sure, I'm like, that's it. The Islanders play such good defense. Sorokin's been stealing this game for them. This game is over. This team looks uninspired. They look flat. They're playing better, but they still don't really have that zip to them that they had in that 5-game winning streak. Then comes in Daniel Sprong, your boy, with the nice little shake and bake to get around Aho, and then snipes it glove hand, the same glove that had been giving the Red Wings fits all game long. And it, just like in the game against the Boston Bruins, that put the pep in the step of the Detroit Red Wings. Just this time, they didn't immediately give up a penalty shot to just stifle that. We've seen this as a pattern. Like once the Red Wings score, they get rolling. But for some reason, up until the moment they score, they kind of struggle to get going. And I mean, it was after that, it was like what, a minute 40 later, Scotty, that their forecheck just came alive.
Well, and to be honest with you, even at the beginning of the game, the forecheck was aggressive and successful. I'm pretty sure at the first intermission, the Islanders had 6 giveaways and the Wings had 0. Like it's not like the Wings got like outplayed to heck and back, right? Like it was close enough and they hung around, but the Islanders did have the slight advantage. But the forecheck has been something we've talked about all year, man, and like the give and take aspect of it. And I mean, obviously the one shorty was like a rush, but this game they really did a great job at the beginning and the end of the game in turning that aggressive forecheck into giveaways and turnovers, which they didn't do very well in the middle of the game. And this season has been like spotty success rate. So it was really good to see that kind of turn into a successful strategy defensively for them, especially by the forwards as the game went along, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, precisely. And that spark from the Sprong goal, like ignited that forecheck. And when this team is applying pressure, when this team is just firing the puck at net, it creates opportunities for them. The Islanders were suddenly very much on their heels. The Red Wings entered the offensive zone off Lucas Raymond using those 12 pounds to protect the puck skating into the offensive zone.
I that's another thing. As a team, I thought zone entry in the second half of the game was phenomenal.
Better. Yeah.
Like it really did feel like every time we had possession of the puck, we were able to like set up shop in the offensive zone. And in the third period, there was even a 2-minute stretch where I had asked my roommate if we were on the power play, because like it literally, we were just consistently just rifling, miss, back out to the point, rifled it. Like it the cycle was really turning there. So I thought zone entry was another thing that, like, early on, maybe not so much, but as the game went along, and especially in the third period, was much improved.
And that's why, I mean, but that exactly is why what you just said. Sometimes the Red Wings clearly have a mandate where they want to play, what's the word I'm looking for? Like pass first hockey. They want to get the goaltender moving. They want to make that extra pass to kind of guarantee a goal. And that was my frustration with the power play early on in the game, where I even tweeted, I was like, so in summation, shoot, like in all caps. And everyone hates that guy, but on early power plays, the passing was phenomenal. It was great. But they kept trying to make that one more perfect pass to try and beat Sorokin, which I completely get because he's, again, a Vezina finalist. But sometimes creating shots and shot attempts on its own, even if you don't have the perfect lane, can therefore create further opportunities. And that is what happened on the second goal that tied it up a minute and 48 later after the first one. I mean, it was a shot from Walman off the point that got deflected, and then it was DeBrincat along the wall who got the deflection, who shot it back to the net. That one came back to the point to Walman, who then shot the puck and scored to tie it up. All those shots coming from all over the place had the Islanders turning around. They lost track of where the puck was when the puck found its way back to Walman to score. And that was also Moritz Seider's first primary assist. I can't exactly remember the sequence in which he touched that along there, because it was a crazy sequence, but that's like the gist of what had happened. And then they just piled it on, because immediately what happened after that, they scored again because they just turned it on. And sometimes there is a balance to be had about picking quality shots and quantity of shots. And when you can apply that forecheck, you can really frazzle a team by just shelling them out of nowhere. You can really wear them down. And that's what they did in that 5-minute span, where then JT Compher with the beautiful feed from Moritz Seider and Andrew Kopp, the secondary assist. Shout out Andrew Kopp again. They took the quick lead. The dog. I mean,
I agree.
It was a great sequence in the third period. I just wish they could do it across 60 minutes, because the first 40, I was like, again,
that's what separates the good from the great, is how consistently you can do that. So
again, like, we got to get to another break here, but the first 40 minutes, while it was better hockey than the last 3 games we had seen, especially at 5-on-5, it still wasn't like great hockey. They were still slightly getting outplayed. But that third period, if they can just, and I know it's kind of impossible to be that dominant of a team across 60 minutes unless you're like the New Jersey Devils right now or the Boston Bruins. But like, that isn't a fun team. That was the team we saw for 5 games during the win streak. Just goal, 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 goal. So yeah, that was a fun third period and a fun overtime, with the exception of the Perron penalty that led to a goal against. But anyways, we'll finish up our conversation about this game when we come back. But first, I got to talk to you guys today about Sleeper. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. The Red Wings, Alex DeBrincat could score 50 goals. Joe Veleno could score 50 goals. Who knows? He didn't get one in this game, but off to a rip-roaring start. And the Red Wings could hoist the Stanley Cup, and you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is the #1 choice for daily fantasy sports, and especially daily fantasy hockey, because with Sleeper, you can get 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. To win a 100-time bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Red Wings fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. You got to just pick stars, guys like McDavid, Draisaitl, Olimata, Ville Husso. What are some Red Wings names? JT Compher. Got to throw Compher's name in there.
I'm going to take the over on Ville Husso points next game. That's a good call. That's great. That's great advice from Brian. Everyone heard that.
Over under saves, man. That's good. That's a thing. So, will more or less than their Sleeper projections for things like goals, assists, saves, plus, minus, and more. So the Ville Husso thing was very accurate. Use promo code LOCKDOWNNHL and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKDOWNNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Segment 3, Locked On Red Wings podcast. Scotty, what else about this episode? Or what else about this episode? What else about this game? I've started calling games episodes like pretty frequently in my everyday life because this podcast is so in my head.
I mean, I feel like the only other thing, I mean, there's some negatives to point out, I guess. I don't know if you have anything more on like the positive side of things.
I
think we went through everything we wanted to, though.
We talked about Walman and Seider. They're really good offensively. Once they shore it up defensively, they're going to be a top pair in the NHL, in my opinion. Second line was great. Goaltending was great. The 3 keys to the game, they achieved that. We got depth scoring. We got 5-on-5 scoring. And what was the third key? I'm forgetting right now. I'm drawing a blank. Whatever it was, they achieved it. Man. Dude, they achieved it. That's all I know. All right. That's all the positive.
I mean, as far as the and there wasn't we kind of talked about, just like getting outplayed in 5-on-5 at the first 2 periods and whatnot. So we kind of like already touched on some of the negatives in this game, but I still think that there's probably more line shuffling to be had, but like we'll see how much this second iteration of the second line stays intact. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But yeah, man, I think as a whole, I mean, there's a couple of like individual moments. Like there was a couple of moments that I think, I mean, we already talked about the penalty, obviously, but like there was a couple of moments that I think, the Wings got just like out hustled or outplayed in. The shorthanded goal was like pretty much completely unacceptable. I thought that was pretty wild. But yeah, man, like I don't, like I said, like really the biggest negative was just the overall general, like you got flat out outplayed again 5v5 for the first 2 periods. It was an improvement, but you still weren't the better team. You got to win. Like I'm not complaining, but like,
Yeah, I mean, you're going to win games where you weren't the better team. I mean, they were the better team in the third period.
Well, and that's why they won. They were close enough and then dominated the third.
But I mean, at some point, if you don't start giving, we saw this last year, right? Where if you don't start giving your goaltender support early on, he's going to break. Yeah. Ville Husso was like the 5th best goalie through the first quarter of the season in terms of goals saved above expected. Yeah. And then just the fact that the team did not play defense in front of him just broke him. And about halfway through the season, he got injured and everything just fell apart.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah. And so if the Red Wings can't start producing, more scoring chances in general at 5-on-5 and just more possession, like not even if you want to, I don't even care so much. I want to be careful how I say this so I don't contradict myself. They need to be able to control the puck better, more consistently. A lot of their attempts, with the exception again with the domination they showed in the third period, a lot of their scoring attempts comes off the rush. They really struggle to still establish presence in the offensive zone. And that's a really hard thing to do in the NHL. I understand that. But until this team can get into the offensive zone and stay there, they're going to struggle at 5-on-5. Getting goals off the rush is fantastic, but if they can't do that early on in the game and they're leaving it up to fate and Ville Husso to keep them in it, eventually he's going to break.
Yeah.
So that's just in the first part of this game. It's crazy too, because the Red Wings had a 62% share of the shot attempts in the first period, but only a 40% share of the quality shot attempts. So it was kind of a little bit of a dichotomy there, but overall, they were just ever so slightly outperformed.
We've talked about the Islanders, game plan a lot, and they know their goalie is phenomenal, and they know his strengths and weaknesses as well, and they force you to shoot in spots that are to his strengths. And the key is to, again, like you said, get him moving constantly so that you can open up some of the net there. And eventually they were able to, he was bending, not breaking for a while, made a couple of unbelievable saves, and they were able to, open the floodgates.
Well, and also like regarding the shorthanded goal, I mean, that kind of goes into what I was saying in last segment, where sometimes they try to do too much. They try to make the perfect play rather than the smart play. I mean, that shorthanded goal sorely, I mean, that was Alex DeBrincat's fault. He got double teamed and tried to stick handle his way out of it and turn it over at the end of a power play shift where Moritz Seider was already gassed, sending Cizikas down the other way. I mean, things like that. I think there was a moment earlier, and I'm getting confused with multiple games there. It could have been against Boston, but Perron turned the puck over high in the offensive zone on a power play, and either this game or the game before that, because he tried to be too cute and just tap it back to the point when he didn't look and there was a guy there. So sometimes, and I think this is what kind of led to their overall success in the third period once they started shooting the puck more, is making the simple plays is sometimes the best play. I know you want to make the perfect play.
That's and like have Malone's whole thing.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, again, overall, this game was a huge improvement over the last three we had seen. But
it's a good win, man. It's an important win too. Like to come back, get 2 points in a comeback victory against a good team that's like going to be in playoff contention. Like this was a really, really good win and a really important win considering, in the second period there, you were down a couple goals.
Mm-hmm.
And then blew the lead again and then came back again. Like this was a really, really good win.
Yeah, Red Wings blowing leads. Who would have guessed? They don't do that a lot. But I mean, overall, it was like you said, it was a good game. It was a good win. Yeah. There was improvements to be made and still improvements that have to be made, but breaking the losing skid and winning in an impressive comeback fashion, I'm pretty happy about. They got their next 2 games are divisional games too.
Yes, sir.
Florida and Boston at home.
Big week.
Florida Thursday, Boston Saturday, both at home. So it's gonna be a big deal. This could be the start. Let's get that ball rolling. Scotty, do you have anything else about this game you want to talk about? I'm trying to think. I think
that's everything that I wanted to cover. I think we give away a Jake Walman stick now.
I think we give away a Jake Walman stick. Scotty, did you want to announce our winner, or should I announce our winner?
Did you write it down?
I wrote it down.
Okay, so you're gonna announce it.
Okay.
Obviously, we both know who it is, but I don't have the exact. Oh, I guess I remember the at now.
So we had almost 900 retweets, 900 entries on Twitter. We had about
50 on Facebook.
200? No, it was I think just 50.
Oh, I thought you said 2 before.
No, we had about 50 on Facebook.
So it was 50 on Facebook, and then whatever it was, 20 or 30 on Instagram.
And man, I keep rooting for the Instagram and Facebook people to like have a huge upset win here. But when you have all those different names,
we literally just put every single person that entered into a randomizer and pressed random, and it spit out a winner. So
our winner for this one, of course, with those odds, ended up being a Twitter user by the names. Heavy favorites in this one. At Dakota Howard was the Twitter handle. The name was different, though, not from the Twitter handle. Sherlock Brolms is what they go by, which I'm assuming is Sherlock Brad Holmes, like mashup. Pretty fitting after the Lions win their week 8 game against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. 6-2 into the bye week. It's a great feeling. And, now they have, you never root for injury, right? Kirk Cousins going down stinks.
No, that does stink, man. That's a state of Michigan legend too, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State legend as well. I guess I kind of worded that poorly, but yeah, the division's wide open for you, for real.
But I mean, they were your only
Rome's though. You are now the owner of a Jake Walman game used stick, baby.
Dakota Howard, if that is your real name, who knows? You have 2 different names here, but we've already followed you on.
His name is not Sherlock Browns.
Definitely not. We've already followed you on X, so just shoot us a DM when you hear that you've won, and we can set up how to get this delivered to you.
To obtain said stick. So there you go.
Congratulations.
Got a winner. Congrats.
We did it. God, so many. We appreciate all you guys entering. That was awesome. That was awesome to see.
About 1,000 people all enter.
Totally. It was like, I think it was slightly under 900 for X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. So it was like almost 1,000. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's cool.
People like Jake Walman, and they should.
Love Jake Walman.
He's off to a great start. Scott, do you have any final thoughts on this game or episode?
I don't think so, man. We ball.
We'll be back with a new episode on, what day is it? Tuesday. No, this is the Tuesday episode. Wednesday. Wow. Can't keep it straight. Well, technically it is Tuesday now. Anyways, same time, same place. It's your team every day.
Every day.
Scotty is tall.